Hello students, welcome back to part 3 of chapter number 11, Light, Shadow and Reflection. Now children, first we will revise what all topic I have taught you in the previous session. In previous session, we have seen how do we see objects around us. And we all know that we see objects around us because of light. Light helps us to see the objects which are present around us. Without light, things cannot be seen. Even we cannot see an object in dark. This is the reason. Next, then we have seen objects are seen when light falls on them. When light falls on an object, then some light gets reflected. This reflected light when reaches to our eyes, then only we are able to see the objects which are present around us. Then we have seen reflection of light. What is reflection of light, children? The change in the direction of light or bouncing back of light after hitting a surface. This we will study in detail in next coming sessions. Then children, we have seen what are luminous objects and non-luminous objects. Objects which are visible clearly, or we can say that which emit their own light. They are known as luminous objects. Means children, here the sources or the objects which emit their own light, and because of their own light they are visible to us. They are known as luminous objects. Then children, non-luminous objects. Here non-luminous objects are the objects which do not have their own light. So they are known as non-luminous objects. And children, non-luminous objects are visible only because of luminous objects. Your children, non-luminous objects can be seen when light from the luminous object falls on them. Then we have seen how shadows are formed. Shadows are formed when the path of light is blocked by an opaque object. Then only we can see the shadow of that object. Then children, in this session we are going to continue with the study of properties of shadows. Children, in previous session even I have told you to get a shadow, what all are the conditions required to get a shadow. So that three conditions were I have explained you in that previous session is: first is light, then the presence of an opaque object, and third is the presence of screen. Here children, so light, an opaque object and the screen are the conditions to get shadow. Now we will continue with the properties of shadows. Here children, transparent objects do not make shadows. Objects must be opaque or translucent. Here children, if we have transparent object, then what will happen? What is the property of transparent object? Transparent objects are the objects which allows light to pass through them. If we'll hold a light source in front of transparent object, then what will happen? Light produced by this source will pass through easily through this transparent object. So there will be no formation of shadow. Then children, shadows are black or grey in color. This you can see here on the screen. Next property of shadow is it is formed opposite to the source of light. Here children, in this picture we can see that here the girl which is standing in front of the boy is holding a torch which is a light source, and the girl behind this boy is holding a cardboard which acts as a screen to get shadow. So shadows are formed opposite to the source of light. Then children, next property of shadow is shadows can be seen only on a screen. Here children, the ground or walls of the room or a building or other such surfaces acts as a screen for the shadows. So children, we can say that a shadow is obtained only on a screen. If here children, in this given picture, if the girl which is standing behind that boy, if she is not holding a cardboard in her hand, then we are not able to see the shadow of this boy. So to get the shadow, there must be presence of screen, and that too also just opposite to the source of light. The next property of shadows is shadows sometimes gives a lot of information about the object, but sometimes shadows can also mislead to us. That means sometimes just looking at the shadows you can recognize the object. But if you will make shadow from this image which I have shown you on the screen, these types of shadows may mislead you. If you will see the picture which I have shown you on the screen, you will find the shadows are of different animals, but actually these shadows are formed by your hands and by using your fingers. Now we will try to understand this misleading of shadows by another example, and here I have taken that example as a cylinder. Here I have kept the cylinder in front of the light source that you can observe on the screen in the first image. You will find the shadow of this cylinder is in the form of circle, as the light rays fall on the circular base of the cylinder. Then you will get its shadow as in the circular form, which I have shown you in the first figure. Then in the second figure, which is there on the right side, you can see if you change the position of the cylinder, then you will get the shadow in the rectangular form. But actually both of these two are the shadows of a cylinder. That's why I have mentioned that sometimes shadows can mislead us. From these two images, you can understand this concept very well. Now, next property of shadows is the shape of the shadow is always similar to that of the object, but the size of the shadow varies. Then next property of the shadow is as I told you, the size of the shadow now here depends upon the distance between the source of light and an opaque object. The more, here you can see in this diagram, the more closer or the closer the object is to the source of light, larger the shadows cast, because objects block larger area of the light. That's why we can see when the object is closer to the source of light, we'll get its larger shadow. And if the distance between the source of light and the opaque object is more, then the size of the shadow decreases. This we can see here on the screen. Now next, children, we will study another property of light. What is that property of light? The property of light is light always travels in a straight line. Light from any source, when it reaches to the object, it always travels in a straight line path. Even the light rays gets reflected by an object, they also travel in straight line path only. Here on the screen, I have shown you the light emitted by the laser light, and you can see these lights are also traveling in straight line. Hence, we can see that these light always travel in straight line path. Now, we will prove that light always travel in a straight line path through a small experiment. To perform this experiment, you need to take a piece of pipe and a candle. First, you have to fix the candle on the table and at the one end of the room, then light up the candle. Now, standing at the other end of the room, look at the candle light through the pipe. Is candlelight is visible to you through the pipe? Yes, you will find that candlelight is clearly visible through this pipe. Now next, what you have to do is bend the pipe a little while looking at the candle. Now, are you able to see the candle through this bent pipe? Now, the candle light is not visible. Students, can you guess why this time you are not able to see the candle light? This is because to see an object, the reflected light from the light source must reach to our eyes. Then only we can see that object. But when you try to look at the candle through the straight pipe, light from the candle reaches to our eyes. And that time we are able to see the candle very easily through the straight pipe. But as here, and this is because the light travels in a straight line. That's why we can see the candle light through the straight pipe. But when we bend the pipe, the reflected light which is traveling in a straight line path will not reach to our eyes as the pipe has a bend. This proves that light does not travel in straight, we can say that light does not bend and always travel in a straight line path. So here in the figure which I have shown you, the image A, you can see candle light easily through a straight pipe, but in image B you are not able to see the candle image as there is a bend in the pipe. And as we all know that light always travel in straight line. So the reflected light will not reach to our eyes as there is a bend in the pipe in case B. If you might have observed that at night headlights of vehicle, you will find there also light also travels in a straight line. Here on the screen I have shown you the headlight of the train which here you can see the headlight of the train, which is easily from this we can easily find out or say that light always travel in straight line. Even light coming out from the lighthouse, there also you will find light always travels in straight line. So these are the examples which proves that light always travel in straight line. Now students, we will move on to the next topic, that is reflection of light. Students, we all have heard about the Panchatantra story of Lion and the Rabbit. What do you think the lion saw in the water? There was no other lion in the water. When it saw its own image in the water formed due to the reflection of light, it jumped into the well to kill his enemy lion. In this way, the clever rabbit saved the life of other animals of the jungle. Do you remember this story, children? Here, children, I am ending this session over here. We will continue the reflection of light, this topic, in the coming session. Goodbye, children. Thank you.